Ethan Hansen here with Enjoy the Horizon, and today's episode, we're going to take a deep dive into deer season 2024. This is going to be a two-part series here on the channel, so don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, as well as the bell icon, so you don't miss the next part, because it's going to be good. So what you're about to see here is some film from 2 days prior. That opening weekend, I was hunting with my mom, my dad, and I. My mom has a whitetail doe tag, my dad has a mule deer buck tag, as well as I. So really the goal for opening weekend was trying to get my mom's whitetail doe tag, because my dad and I were trying to go for a trophy mule deer this year, which is, typically later in November. When that cold front hits, usually the bucks are moving around, and that's when you're going to find your bigger bucks. So we got all set up that night and decided to do some early scouting in the morning. And you can't ask for a better morning down there in the Badlands than this. Had a beautiful sunrise. And we're driving alongside the Little Missouri River there, and we actually seen two whitetail bucks. One was a really nice mature buck. The other one was just kind of a young buck there, maybe 2 or 3. And they ended up going up into the thick willows there. So we just continued driving down the road and up into some more mule deer country now. And we ended up coming across quite a few mule deer that morning. I believe there was 2 out in the field to our right, and then we got to another section where there was another 3 right in front of the road, and it didn't take us very long before we ran into a pretty good sized mule deer buck along the road. We gave him the name JD for Jim Dandy. He is a pretty dandy mule deer buck, and I think it's just outside of what my dad and I are looking for. We're looking for something just a little bit bigger, maybe past his ears or a little bit taller than that, but nonetheless, still a really good sized buck. So we'll target that area maybe within the next week or 2 coming up. So we'll write it down and keep moving along. And later that night, we kind of drove out to that same area, maybe the draw or 2 over, and we ended up coming across some more mule deer with a small mule deer buck. Now, I find it quite surprising that the small mule deer buck is hanging out with all these does. But yeah, we sat and watched these guys for quite a while. Ended up moving on, and that was, like I said, the day prior of opening day, so we got a little bit of scouting in down there. But unfortunately, later that night, we came across some news that kind of threw a wrench into the whole hunting season. And that was a massive fire ban put on by, I believe, the Forestry Service out there on the whole western part of North Dakota. And this fire ban prohibited all ATVs on 2-track roads, so we couldn't get back into the mule deer country that we wanted to get to. So yeah, this really changed all of the hunting season of what we really had planned, because we planned to stay there for, that whole duration. Yeah, it kind of sucks because where we were camping at, it's at least a good 20 or 30 minute drive just to get back into some good whitetail and mule deer country. Don't get me wrong, we could definitely walk all the way back in there, but that's just a long walk if you're trying to hunt those mornings and afternoons. So already that changed our plans for, my mom and my dad and I, at least down in that area. So we did our best for that, weekend that we were down there. We still had the ultimate goal of trying to film my mom's tag. But thankfully, opening day doesn't start till around noon. So we had all morning to walk all the way back into the Little Missouri. And we came across this nice spot along the river here that has this really dense spot of trees where a whole bunch of whitetail will hang out at and hunker down midday. So my mom and dad walked down the trail, and I was kind of the one that was walking down in the trees, hopefully trying to kick out a whitetail that was bedded down in that area, spook him out, and hopefully my mom gets a shot opportunity at one. So that's what we did. Looks like the beavers got these trees. That's pretty cool. And after walking that whole stretch of not kicking out a single deer, I ended up kicking out a pheasant along the way. We ended up splitting off and going in our own directions, and I went up into some more mule deer country as I was already there, and I did a whole sit from around 3 o'clock all the way till that evening. And I took my time getting all the way up to the tops there, and it paid off, because as soon as I got up there, I looked down and I seen 3 mule deer does as well as a buck. Still not what I was after, just a small 3x2, but nonetheless, it was still cool to get right on top of them, and them not knowing a single clue that you're there. And after quite a while of watching them, that mule deer buck was pushing those 3 does around, and that was about it for that afternoon, so I thought. As I was walking back down the hill to go back to the camper, I look up on another section, and there's a pretty nice mule deer buck standing up there. And after looking at him through my binos, I came to the consensus that in my eyes, he wasn't a shooter. And I got some pretty good film on him towards the end there. It was pretty hard. There were some trees right in front of me. But yeah, pretty nice buck. That was going to wrap up that afternoon. And we had 1 day left down there to make it count before we decided to go home, reevaluate on what to do because of this fire ban. Now, let's get straight into that hunt.
Good morning. It is day 2 out here. It's currently 6 o'clock. Sun comes up at around 8. You can hunt 30 minutes prior to that, and it takes about another 30 minutes to get out there. So you got about an hour to get ready, and yeah, get some food, get some clothes, and stay tuned.
That morning we got up and decided to drive about 30 minutes north of where we were camping at on some scorier roads to some overlooks where you can get up on the top there and look straight down. And we spent all morning and afternoon just glassing, and we didn't really see much besides a buck laying down at around 1,500 yards out, super far away, couldn't get a camera on him, but still not a huge buck. And we headed back to the camper to get some lunch and go out for a hunt later that afternoon.
Well, I'm gonna head up this way. We got a mule deer, a small one, up on the hill. I think the plan right now is just to kind of head down this road, and I'm gonna go sit on this hill up here, I think, and then wait for some of these mule deer to kind of come down from the hill. But take a look at this beautiful view. Alright, now I just gotta find a way up there. If I walk up this stuff, it's really, really loud. But if you can find a spot up here where there's a little bit of grass, that ground is a little bit more solid, you can walk up it and it could be a lot quieter. Here's another petrified tree. Not as big as the other ones, but still pretty cool. Well, I just got set up, and already there's a mule deer buck up there. I don't think he's very big, maybe a 2x2, 3x3, but he's up there, and I'm sure there's more. There's another one, the one that we seen earlier, down here still. So we'll just keep waiting and see what happens. I don't know if that's the same buck from earlier, but I seen a buck go around here to the left and around the hill. This is the hill that my parents are sitting on. They're sitting about right there, looking down. But I seen this mule deer start to walk down into here, and then he ended up going up to the top. And now he is, well, where is he? Over here somewhere. I mean, you just seen him a moment ago. He was running up the hill. I don't know if he got spooked or not. But it looked like either the same one from earlier that I seen come off the tops. I don't know.
And that's going to wrap up our time down in that area. So now it just being my dad and I, we drove out late that afternoon the next weekend. And my dad and I drove out to some new territory where we can park the camper on the side of the road and just walk straight up into the foothills. So after setting up all night, this is that next morning.
Well, there's 3 does that walked over here. And now there's, I don't know, Dad says he's a tall buck over to the left of him. So I'll see if I can get some film of him.
And nothing else showed up besides those 4 muleys, so we did some more spotting and stalking. And we walked up to a shelf that had a perfect overlook, and we sat down and glassed for quite a while until we finally seen a mule deer laying out there. And this mule deer doe was bedded for quite some time, and she kept looking down like there was another one, and sure enough there was 2 of them. But unfortunately there was no buck with them. So later that day my dad and I split off and went in different directions. And I went up into a section that had a really nice overlook into a lot of draws, and I sat there all afternoon, and the only thing I seen were 2 mule deer, quite a ways out, maybe 700 yards away, and it was just a doe and a small buck. And the next day rolled around and I didn't see much, besides later that afternoon where I ran into 3 hunters that I was trying to get on the same hill as them, but they beat me to it. So I ended up just sitting down where I was and making the best of it. And I can't believe I didn't see anything that afternoon. And that's going to be it. I'm going to leave you guys on a cliffhanger because on the next episode, the cold front hits and things start to ramp up. So I will see you guys in part 2. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button as always so you don't miss the next one. Till next time.